are you? What is your worth? Those are really deep, big questions that we should be asking ourselves. And so often within our mind, we hear a negative answer to that. I'm going to tell you why there's greatness in the world and in you next. Hi, I'm Heidi Tucker, award-winning inspirational author. Welcome to the Pickled Sunflower, where we can come together, make a connection, and find hope. One of my favorite things to do is to hike. It's a place that I go to really meditate and to have some deep, good conversations with God. And so on my way up and down the mountain, my mind is working just as hard as my legs to pull me up the mountain. One day last week, I was really emotionally kind of wrestling with some issues in my life. And so I was pondering some of that. And as my really tired legs and lungs began to pull me up the final ascent of a really steep hike, there were two hikers in front of me that saw me coming up, probably heard me because of my deep breathing. And they both parted, one to each side of the path. And then one of them said to all of us, "It's just like the parting of the Red Sea." As tired as I was, that biblical metaphor caught my attention. And I looked up at the hiker who said it, and he looked at me and he said, "See, there really is greatness in the world." I thought about that as I ascended to the top of the mountain. I sat there and I thought about that statement, and I thought about it all the way back down the mountain. There really is greatness and beauty in the earth all around us. There's probably no doubt in your mind about that. I think we can all agree on that. We know that there are great things on earth. We know that God is great. But guess what? That greatness is also evident in each one of us. How many of us have done something that we feel is really small and insignificant, and we have done something to help somebody? We've said something, we've made a phone call, we've done some small act of service, and that small event or that small act has been perceived by them as something great. Often that person will tell you weeks or months or years later what a turning point that was in their life. Think about all of the things that you have done that you perceived that were small, that might have been great. Was it hundreds? Was it thousands? I think about the biblical story of the parting of the Red Sea. How many hundreds and thousands of droplets of water formed that wall? Just like those innumerable drops of water that form that great wall that was parted miraculously in the Red Sea, those acts of service, those small things that you have done throughout your life, when you add those up, that defines greatness. Whether it's from God's hands or whether it's from yours, those are great events. There have been times in my life where I have been trying to make decisions about certain ventures that I wanted to take my career in, or various things that I was really concerned about. And there have been so many times that someone has said to me, they just called me randomly on the phone, and something that they said was an absolute trigger for me to know what I needed to do. It was an absolute answer to a prayer. It led me in the right direction, or it just confirmed where I kind of was feeling like I needed to go. You know, a phone call is a really small event, but for me, that was great. And I have never forgotten those moments in my life. Think about those moments in your own life, examples of small things that became great. They were moments of greatness for you. We are all capable, because of our unique gifts and abilities, different personalities, all those beautiful differences that we each have. Because of that, we have the ability to initiate that moment of greatness, to be part of that greatness. And as receivers of greatness, I hope that we can position our hearts to really see and hear and feel when that happens. It's such a beautiful thing, and I really believe that God has orchestrated the entire event. Yes, there's greatness in the world. Yes, the earth is beautiful and wonderful and God is great, but I hope that we can recognize that there is greatness in all of us as individuals. I hope that we can really soften our hearts and open up our minds to the possibilities of greatness throughout the world. Whether it's God's hand in the literal parting of a Red Sea, or figuratively, if God's hand was involved through us as individuals to make that moment happen. Whether it's on a really difficult hike in life where you're making big decisions, or whether it's just a beautiful, tender moment that you needed to know that someone cared. There is greatness in all of it. I'll see you here next time on The Pickled Sunflower.